Welcome everyone to the Pestle. This is a bonus episode from our Patreon. This is episode number 22. I think we're going to release this one. I'm drunk. It's late. To the general public. So if you like what this is about, consider signing up for our Patreon. And I am Wes.
And I'm Todd.
And this is the show where we like to break down. And this has been fun. I've been really enjoying these bonus episodes. I feel like we kind of figured out our method, our style for these bonus ones, because it's different from what we usually do, but also kind of very doable and sustainable. And I feel like we can keep this up for a while until we just, feel like not keeping it up anymore.
Yeah, agreed. And it's a good excuse to go back and watch these shows that I've seen before, but I haven't revisited. I mean, we're covering the pilot for Newsroom today, and I didn't realize it was from 2012. Like, where is the time going? Oh my God. When I called it up and it said 2012, I said, no way. That is 13 years ago.
We were but little chicklings.
Yes.
Crazy. So yeah, if you haven't seen that pilot, what's it called?
It's called We Just Decided to.
Yeah. So go check that one out on HBO, of course, because we're going to spoil a bunch of things. Quick synopsis of the show. A newsroom undergoes some changes in its workings and morals as a new team is brought in, bringing unexpected results for its existing news anchor. It's created by Aaron Sorkin, featuring Jeff Daniels as Will McAvoy, Emily Mortimer as Mackenzie, John Gallagher Jr. as Jim Harper, Allison Pill as Maggie, Thomas Sadowski. Ooh, what would you go with on that one? Sadowski?
Yeah, Sadowski.
Sure. As Don, Dev Patel as Neil, and Sam Waterston as Charlie. And I have a clip that I'm going to...
You better.
roll.
Better have a clip for this one.
I know. It's one of the most famous things to come out of this show. Maybe bar none, right? Let's play that clip if I can figure out how to.
We reached for the stars. Acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy. We were able to be all these things and do all these things because we were informed by great men who were revered. First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. America is not the greatest country in the world anymore.
Man. So 2012, as you pointed out, does this still hold up? Is there still a message worth hearing in there? And is this still a fun TV show that I think we both really love?
Yeah, it definitely holds up. Maybe even more so now, to be honest. I remember loving that scene and the show in general, but that scene specifically was just like so everything that I thought and felt at the time, but didn't know how to put into words, and Aaron Sorkin is just like a master. I mean, anytime that, I think about, we have these discussions about AI, like taking over, like doing, replacing writers and stuff. I just think about something like the Newsroom. There is no fucking way that AI could ever do anything like this. Like, and even if it could, I wouldn't want to see it. The whole point is the human condition and of making anything is that. And this is so human. Everything about this show, at least this episode, is just so interesting, and it keeps you on your toes, and it's funny and it's aggressive, but at the same time it's heartwarming and heartbreaking, and it's exciting, and it leaves questions unanswered. I thought that the way that he ties the beginning to the end is so brilliant, with her being in the audience and us thinking that it's somebody else, that he's just imagining her in the audience, but then we find out it really was her in the end because she has the pad, but then she decides not to show him, not to tell him that he was there, that she was there. And you're like, oh man, this is so, there's another level that he's operating on. And when I say he, I mean Aaron Sorkin. I think that Jeff Daniels is just perfect and brilliant in this role. The way that he delivers that monologue, I feel like only he could do it. And which is so crazy because I had never seen him act before Dumb and Dumber, you know? And so that's what I knew him as. I didn't know him as a serious actor. I had heard that he was, but I'd never seen anything. And then the Newsroom comes out and I'm like, whoa, okay. I mean, I'd seen him in Speed. He was in Speed, but like he had like 3 lines or something. Right. And then he has a really famous like thing about like how we've talked about it, how he like reacted to the bomb. Anyway, he's fantastic. Everybody in the show is fantastic, and the writing is genius. I loved the topic, the news topic that happens. I had forgotten about it, but I recently had just watched Deepwater Horizon, the movie, right? And so when they said an oil well exploded off the Gulf of Mexico, and this is 2012, I immediately knew, oh, that's right, this is going to be about Deepwater Horizon. And so to watch and knowing what happened and being fresh about what happened after watching that movie, I'm sitting there watching Don not take it seriously. And it's just like, it's so cool to be the one who knows this is serious and to watch how they have to respond. Sometimes they have to take stuff seriously. Sometimes they don't have all the information. And so they have to be careful about what they do and put out. And then also at the same time to balance the relationship between Mackenzie and Will is just genius writing. It's just so great. Anyway.
Dude. Yeah, same. I mean, anytime I really love journalism stories. And I've always tended to gravitate towards them, and anything that has to do with getting to the truth of something, I just hold the truth as such a precious thing. And the more inconvenient it is, the more it needs to be told as it is. And I like that exploration throughout this whole series for sure, but I love that we're getting some of those hints and insights into the battles that journalists might be going through. Like at the beginning, Will is playing it safe, and they set that up very clearly that he's sitting on a panel between a liberal and a conservative, and they're duking it out, and he's doing everything he can to not be offensive, right? As they frame it later, the Jay Leno. And so whenever he's asked a serious question, he deflects with humor. And he just keeps doing it until one button too many gets pushed, and then he snaps on this, college student and lets her have it. And it's like, she didn't deserve to be belittled in front of everyone like that. And I think that it doesn't take a lot of courage to go on a college campus and listen to someone's sincere question and then, burn them to the ground. Like, I think you need to have an understanding of who you're talking to, no matter if they're coming to you boldly or not, and meet them where they are, not where they're pretending to be. It doesn't mean be condescending, but it does mean to be understanding and like, oh, you got a fact here wrong, or, I think blah, blah, blah. There's a way to handle that. And he just completely botched it, which is why I respect so much of the conversation that comes afterward. It's all about like, I'm not leaving because of what you said to that college student, but it's worth noting, you just completely humiliated someone that didn't deserve it. But there are some things that Aaron Sorkin rubs me the wrong way in so many cases of this. Like The West Wing, I think, did the same thing. Its first season was all about him disguising his own personal views and just using it as his soapbox. And I think the first season of The Newsroom did the same thing, where they're setting up Will as this conservative Republican, and therefore he gets to rail against conservatives and Republicans. And I think that's such a cheap device to disagree with people. Like, look, if you want to disagree with conservatives, I think the more good faith approach is to pitch yourself as a Democrat and then do those things, because at least now we know that you're not pretending to be something you're not, even though I think he's trying to use Will as an old school Republican who's lost faith with his party or whatever. Like, that's a really cool approach. I just don't think there's a lot of good faith in the actual execution. And in that speech that he's delivering at the beginning, like, he's talking about how the rest of the world has freedoms, which to a large degree is true, but to an also large degree it's not. Like, there's people in England and Britain that get thrown in jail frequently for freedom of speech violations that we would be affronted by. And I think it's a very cheap way to win, like a cheap applause line, basically. And so that kind of stuff rubs me wrong, when, especially in this conversation that is very pointed at journalism and truth in journalism. And so I think if you're going to write about those things, especially with that beautiful, amazing, like, title and sequence, that's calling back to all these greats of journalism, right? Murrow and Cronkite and what have you, and all these great moments in American journalism itself. Like, if you're going to do that, then you are being called to a higher bar. You can't just use this as your own personal bully pulpit. Like, you do need to have a little bit more humility than I think he was showing. That said, so that I can just get that off my chest, there's so much that I love. Like, this is such a great show. It's a great episode. And it's doing all the things that Sorkin does so well. Like, the writing, the witty banter balances really, really elegantly against the drama, because you can have these people, you know, throwing blows, but also doing it in a way that's very, like, light. It's bringing levity. So one of my absolute favorite moments was actually at the end of the episode. It's a very throwaway thing, but it's something that I just adore in his writing, but also adore as a concept, because I think he's nodding towards something that we need in civilized society. And this whole show is about civilizing society, right? And it's the moment at the very end. Jim Harper has been, like, on the right side this whole time, and his good faith approach throughout the entire episode is just really hats off, because he's trying his best, right, to be cool with Don. Jim knows I'm not on deck yet. You know, Don is still the guy, but I also know I have very reliable sources telling me something important about this oil spill. And so he's doing his best to go to Don, and Don isn't having it. And finally, he goes over Don's head, as he should. And he goes and talks to Will, and it's so beautifully set up, because Will is so annoyed with Don, with how he left, that he's looking for any excuse just to rub Don wrong now. But it also just happens to be the right thing to do, which is like a double victory. Like, I get to offend the guy who's annoying me with doing the right thing. You know what? Game on. But that's not my favorite moment. My favorite moment is afterwards, at the very end of the episode. Don comes in and Jim goes to him and he says, "We got off on the wrong foot. Can I buy you a drink?" Shakes his hand. Whoa! Instead of setting this up as a grudge match for the rest of the season, he does the right thing, which was, let's not make this a deal. Let's not make this who we are to each other. I'm going to extend a hand. And right? That's such a beautiful little hat tip towards civilizing society. And then the response is so good, and it's humbling, where Don says, "Maybe another time when I haven't spent the night getting my ass kicked." And he does it and shakes his hand, because he's acknowledging, you were right, I was wrong. And he's doing it in a way that's building a relationship with someone, instead of like shoving Jim away. He's acknowledging you were right, and I'm still here. Like, and I'll let you respond first, because there's another little thing that I like on the writing side of that. But did that moment stand out to you as well?
Yeah, I just wanted really quickly to say I totally agree. I don't think that I've ever really seen that happen in a show. Normally, writers just use that as like, okay, this is going to be fuel for later. Yeah. And maybe it does, like there is, like Jim and they start dating, right? Or something. I can't remember. So eventually something happens. But like, yeah, in real life, I would especially if I knew I was going to work there, I would definitely try to heal that relationship immediately. Don't let anybody leave. You know, like, hey, I know, you know, I just happen to have a source, but like, you know, anyway. So yeah, great job pointing that out. I totally agree.
I love it. The other thing that I really like is that it's a very quick exchange, and Sorkin is really well known what they call musical, right? He's very musical in his dialogue. And I think this is just a really great, and this whole episode is filled with these moments. Don't get me wrong, but since we're talking about it, I wrote it down what I think they said, and this might not be exactly right, but it's probably very close. And it's this: we got off on the wrong foot. Can I buy you a drink? Maybe another time when I haven't spent the night getting my ass kicked. Like, those things just bounce back and forth, and you know what's being said and communicated because the phonetics are very bouncy and easy on the tongue, easy to say. Therefore, they're also easy on the ears. They're easy for us to process and understand the dynamic that's happening here. It's not asking almost anything of the audience. It's like processed food. You don't have to digest any of it. It's right there. You get it, as well as all the blocking and the nonverbal stuff happening, certainly. But just phonetically and on the ear, you can hear these short, choppy words that don't bump into each other in a bad way. We got off on the wrong foot. Can I buy you a drink? Maybe another time when I haven't spent the night getting my ass kicked. Like, you can see how these words are playing very nicely with each other. I was giving someone feedback earlier that they were like, hey, I'm about to release a book in the next calendar year, next summer. I'm working through my titles. And their title was very clunky to me. And they literally said, be brutal, be brutally honest. I need it. This is how I best respond to feedback. And I'm like, okay. And now I still wasn't brutal, but I did let them know, like, this is very clunky to me. The words are jamming, and it's making it very difficult for me to mentally process what you're saying. And this was just a title that I can read. How much harder is it to pronounce and say out loud and have someone, you know, process it? And so I was like, I gave a different suggestion. But it was like phonetically, everything was just very just jammed in and like, wait, what's being said here? And it's not, that was like, you know, 9 words altogether. And I still was just like, hold on, wait, give me a second here. And so how you write these things, the more you're used to, I bet Aaron Sorkin is a bit like me in that he's fighting with people in his head all the time. And so he's always listening and thinking about what this person would say, how they would say it. But he's gotten just, you know, a million miles better because of how much he can hear, how clearly these things that are being said. And the more clearly you can hear those things, the more they just roll off the tongue. This was a big thing for me in my last short film. I knew how these things were going to land, and I wanted them to be more musical because there were rants. There were these really long, chunky, wordy rants, and I was like, I need these to flow very poetically. And so I worked and refined based on that. And if you want to study dialogue, you're probably not going to do better than Sorkin in this way. But also, it's interesting to watch him go read and look at films where he's not doing that, probably for other reasons, the director. Like Moneyball, his least sing-songy like dialogue ever, right? It's very dramatic and a lot more stilted. It's fascinating to go watch how he approaches that, you know? Anyway, that's my spiel about Aaron Sorkin's dialogue.
What about the cinematography? I mean, it's just, the editing is so, it tells the story. I mean, when you have an A-B conversation, like with two people, it gets tiring to always bounce back and forth. So I noticed that sometimes, you know, instead of, like, if Will's talking to Maggie, it'll a few times bounce to Will when he's talking, then bounce back to Maggie, and then Will, and then bounce to Maggie, and then stay on Maggie while Will is speaking. And then when Maggie's speaking, it'll go wide and show the two, have like a 2-shot. But from with like
zooming
showing
out.
Will's face, and so like it's almost like a dance with the editing too. And so it makes me wonder, you know, how many cameras did they shoot with? Did they shoot with 3 or 4 cameras? Because these angles I'm seeing, I mean, you're on a kind of a longer lens, so you have like a narrower field, so you don't have to, you can block it so that all the cameras are out of all of, the shots. If you want to run 3 cameras at the same time, which I feel like they probably did. I don't know. It feels like that. So editing is strong too.
Very strong. Like I was paying attention during that opening panel talk, like the way they transition away from what's being talked about, and it just becomes kind of drony. And the camera work was playing right into that, because it's very emotional camera work, a lot of zooming and focus pulls, close-ups. So you're very kind of tight with Will. And as the audio pulls back, we can hear music, and we're kind of moving into his head, and you can feel that he's tuning all this out, that he's not engaged. And it's just beautiful camera work that plays into the style of the moment. And I think you're right, 2 minimum, maybe a third. I always forget whenever I worked on this. To me, invokes Friday Night Lights, like the original drama, Peter Berg. But even before that, you had the movie where he kind of started working on the style for dramas, because you'd seen this on like mockumentaries, like The Office, which probably came out a little after the Friday Night Lights movie. But even before that, I think Best in Show had already come out a few years before that. And that was a very similar style of a mockumentary camera, pretending to document people look in the camera. But this, to me, is just a completely different thing. Like here, they're clearly on dollies at some point, where they're like moving around very gracefully, or at least like some amazing Steadicam work. But to mix that kind of steadiness in with these zooms and zooming in, zooming out, changing your subject mid-sentence so that you can pick up the reaction of the person next. I love this. Like, this is very much my style of filmmaking. This is what I really personally enjoy, because it's so, as a camera operator, you have to be very emotionally in tuned with the cast. And it is jazz. Like you're dancing with them, but you're also not afraid to take some chances, to be like, okay, I know they're still talking, and yet I'm not going to let them finish while I move the camera away. Like those things are ballsy, for a cam op. Now maybe they're getting, prodded, but I bet a lot of the camera work is just them intuiting. And then if Sorkin or the director is back there watching the monitors, they might say maybe they're in their ear, but maybe not. Maybe they're just letting them do it. And then on a second take, being like, okay, here, wait. This is stuff I do on set all the time. If I'm not DPing, like I'll tap my cam op, like me and Barrera, on our last short film. Like he's doing something and we shoot a scene. I'm like, okay, let's do it again. But here we're going to start here. And then whenever I tell you, you're just going to tilt up and catch the dialogue in the back. And then, you got to communicate with your focus puller and like, hey, we're going to do this. Oh, okay, whatever. And then whenever I see the moment, I just tap his shoulder. And that way I'm not intruding on the dialogue, right? So that kind of stuff can be happening, but these guys are in a different league. Like these cam ops they're not like any other cam ops. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they're stop. What do I do with my hands? I got a new desk. It's a standing desk, and it goes. And I accidentally nudged the setting. And so they know what they're doing. Like I wouldn't be surprised if these are former like documentary workers. By some random coincidence, earlier today, saw a thread on Reddit. They were talking about The Office camera work. And someone was like, they actually, I don't know if this is true, but they're like, they actually went and hired documentary operators and then just put them in to the set and then let them kind of figure it out. And so they were just intuiting like, oh, this is going to be a perfect moment for like a snap zoom. Great. Nailed it. Yeah. Moving on. That's awesome. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did that here too. It's a genius way to think about the style of your film. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. The camera work, the editor has so much fun knowing that, hey, I can tell this in like 100 different ways. I feel like normally with TV editing, especially with like network stuff, there's probably not a lot of space to really make your print, right? Because you know where your commercial breaks are coming, and no matter what happens, you're probably going to start with your wide, your mediums, your close. But on this, man, you can start in 1,000 different ways, and just depends on the scene and what you want the audience to feel. I think that's hella cool, man.
Yeah.
God.
Agreed, man.
My last little note, I guess, is with the oil spill itself. The episode is building to this moment. It's a moment of decision. And it's where Jim crashes the office and he's like, I got news. And he's like, okay, well, tell me what the deal is. And then you have all the pros and all the cons, right? Like, this is a real story. We have real sources, blah, blah, blah. And then Don, his former EP, says, if you do this and you're wrong, Halliburton will own AWN. And it's perfect. It's crystallized. The decision of what he needs to decide. Run the story with the facts or play it safe. Be the old Will that never offends anyone and never takes a risk. Or this is a very pointed moment of if he's going to pick up the gauntlet to stop playing it safe and start challenging people again instead of cozying up to power. He didn't challenge that general. You know, he's always making sure he's bringing in the audience and not offending anyone. He's Jay Leno. And now he has this perfect crystallized moment to decide if he's going to continue being the old Will or be the new one. Okay, if he's going to be the new one, let's see what that means. And I love that they just have Vamp on the teleprompter. It really shows us how strong he is, how good he is at his job. Even though if you stop and pause and you're like, Aaron Sorkin wrote all this. He's not vamping anything. But in the moment, I'm thinking this guy's freaking going for it. I'm emotionally right there with him, right? Like, you never question that.
Yeah, and there's a moment earlier when she's in his office when they first meet, and he tells her that he got her contract changed by giving up $1 million a year for 3 years or however long it is. And she's like, how much money do you make? She asked that question. And so you're sitting there thinking, he is making obviously millions a year. How is he worth that? And then they show you. And then he shows you by putting just Vamp up there, and then he's got to roll with it. And he says names, and he says titles of people, and he says whatever. He just says stuff that's like, that is pointed. It's not like just random words that are congealed from everything that he said before. It is progressing the story forward and into a break or into a meeting with the next interview. And when he's like interviewing the guy from BP or something, like, that's a great, we see him at his A game, at his best, after we find out that he makes millions of dollars. And then you're like, oh, okay, I understand now. That makes sense. He is the big swinging dick of this kind of, world.
Absolutely.
Whatever. He's not somebody who's working his way up. He's at the top.
This is
we're seeing someone at the top. So anyway,
100%.
It's cool.
Nice. Final thoughts?
Love it. I love it. Whoa, wife just sneezed. I love it a lot. It's great. Makes me want to go back and watch other episodes of the first season, at least. I remember loving the first season.
Yeah.
Don't remember how I felt about the other ones, but at least the first season I really liked. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and it's same. I'll probably continue watching this, just kind of picking away at it here and there as comfort viewing whenever I need something to wind down. But they didn't even get into like Olivia Munn. When you have Dev Patel in a supporting role, bro, you're cooking.
This was before he was Dev Patel.
Right? I mean, it's after Slumdog. It's
after Slumdog. Oh, that's right. It was
years after Slumdog. I mean, that was 2005.
He just wanted to work with Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Because Slumdog was still like a lower budget film, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it won Best Picture. But
right,
yeah,
but like, I just mean like, I don't know who directed and wrote it.
Oh, Danny Boyle directed it, and Simon. Simon Beaufoy.
Man, when you work with Danny Boyle.
Yeah, you work with Danny Boyle. That's pretty big.
That's pretty big. Yeah. But anyway.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we will get into the hardest part of this episode, which is we're going to talk about our top 5 favorite music videos. I don't know what this is going to mean, but do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay. Whew, this was tough. I had to stop myself before I came up with like 1,000, my top 100, which would probably be more accurate, because I had like Spanish Sahara, I had Busta Rhymes, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See. It was just like an incredible music video. So I'll start. Those are my honorable mentions. My honorable mention will be Busta Rhymes, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See. Number 5, I couldn't find a way to not put this on here. It's Aha, Take On Me. It's just maybe the greatest music video ever made. Right? I like.
Son of a bitch.
How can you not? Like, it's just incredible. It inspired me to make your music video, the lyric video, and I'm still so proud of that. I think it's just a very fun, cool video. 100% inspired by Aha, Take On Me. Just does it get any better? I don't know. I have other favorites that just I would love more, I guess, but yeah. Number 4, Mace, Feels So Good. Bad Boys. You Make Me Feel So Good. And it's Hype Williams. And it's also Puff. But the music video is just perfect 90s Hype Williams. It's iconic. It's a very iconic music video. If you see someone put on a reel of music videos that they're talking about what music videos could be or used to be, you will absolutely have Mace Feel So Good on there. You'll probably also have like LL Cool J doing it. But Mace, certainly. I just love it. It's flashy, it's shiny, it's dancing, it's dancers shaking their ass and like having a good time. It's just so good. I love it. I want to throw on like a fish eyes wide lens and make a music video at some point for just to honor Hype Williams. Yeah. Number 3, TLC, Creep. I think this is just one of the sexiest music videos of all time. It's for like early mid 90s. It's got just a groove to it. I mean, the music is beautiful, but there's a vibe, there's a sexy vibe that changed their whole image. And it looks gorgeous. I mean, it's silky smooth, like their skin tones are beautiful. The lighting is so soft in a way that you didn't always get at this phase of the 90s. And so I know they must have really taken their time to get everything right. It's perfect. It's such a beautiful music video. At number 2, the actual sexiest music video of all time, Chris Isaak, Wicked Game. This music video, my gosh. Hey, fellas, if you ever like need to put a mood on, throw on Chris Isaak. You win. No matter what, everyone wins. Women love him and men love everything else happening in that music video. And it's black and white. It's black and white, and it's never been hotter. Oh my God. Yeah. And at number 1, I had always imagined if I could do BET back in the day used to have their top 10 music videos, and they'd bring on like a guest. And it was a special guest, usually like an actor or an artist themselves, or I don't know, a politician maybe. They would let them like curate their own top 10. And I always imagined I would get to my top 10. And I was always curious, like, would they let me put on Aha? Like, I wonder if they would let me use like a non-hip hop like song. But I always knew what my number 1 was going to be, no matter what. My number 1 was always going to be Nas One Mic. This to me is just it's the best of everything. Even lyrically, I think the music video is better than the album. Like he's talking about like papyruses and place, I don't want to start quoting it all, but like he's using much more complex word couplets than he does in the R-rated album version. And I just think that's so cool that he found another gear when he went to rewrite the radio friendly version. And then throughout the music video, the rise and fall of the tempo, the rhythm, and how it complements the music video itself. Like the music is taking you on a journey. It's building energy. And they reflect that in the editing. This is the perfect example. If you ever want to understand what editing can do to the energy of the video, whether it's narrative, documentary, music, whatever, the editing in one mic picks up as the music picks up pace, and you can feel that shift in energy visually expressed through the choice of edits and the tempo of edits. It's injecting so much energy. And then there's something else being said too about authoritarianism, police brutality, and the position that it's a very much a pen is mightier than the sword kind of commitment to what we can do culturally and socially through art. And it floors me, God. And the visual style of like the highlights and the light being like cranked up to in rhythm, like this is just I love it. This is a music video I aspire to make at any point. Like and then the way it ends with the music, it goes from like slow to fast, and the third verse starts fast. It just punches you in the face and then brings you down. Like everything about it, the music, working with the video, genius. I just couldn't love it more. So that's what I got, man.
Wow, dude, good stuff, man. I think we're gonna really
diverge.
It's gonna be clear what kind of music we grew up listening to when you hear my list. Anyway, can I give a couple of honorable mentions?
Please, it's impossible not to.
Look, it's music video, but it's music, so it's my it's my realm. So okay, honorable mentions. I have a few. I'm just going to go through them quickly. Fatboy Slim, Weapon of Choice, which has Christopher Walken dancing.
Yeah.
Amazing, incredible, timeless. All right, Beastie Boys, Sabotage, fantastic. Sia, Chandelier, with that little girl dancing. Right. I forget her name, but unbelievable, hard to forget. Smashing Pumpkins, Tonight, which is like basically like a paper mache video. And then lastly,
to George
Sigur Rós Glossally, which if you haven't seen it is I mean, whatever, it's Sigur Rós. So it's like one of my favorite, Talk is one of my favorite albums of all time. And that song with that video makes you want to fly. It's unbelievable. Wow. Okay. Now getting to my 5. So what is that?
That's a strong
5 honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Sorry. It was fast.
That was great.
Okay. Number 5 is Madonna, Like a Prayer. And I love that video for a lot of reasons. One is it's the greatest bass line of all time. I don't care what anybody says. It's the greatest of all time. It makes me want to break shit every time I hear it. It's so good. Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, changed the world. That video specifically changed that band and that world and the world, because the record had come out already. It was already out. They were touring on Nevermind, but there was just like another record on Sub Pop, and then that video hit, and it was just, what it turned into what it is. Peter Gabriel, Sledgehammer, stop motion, slamming. I love that track too. Go back and listen to Sledgehammer. It hits. It slaps, bro. That song is unbelievable. I'm waiting for somebody to cover it. Like really, we need a modern day cover of that. Number 2 is Aha, Take on Me. Gotta have that in there. Your list is incomplete unless that video really is in there. And it's so funny because it was one of the first videos ever, and yet it's like timeless. It's anyway, unbelievable. And I think that I love that it inspired you to do the video you did, and seeing the video you did is just unbelievable. So if you guys haven't seen this video, this lyric video that Wes did, Please put it in the show
I'll link
notes,
it in
man,
the
'cause
show
it is
notes. Yeah.
solid. And then my number one, and maybe most people haven't seen this one. I don't know. I don't care. It's one of my favorite Radiohead tracks of all time. Street Spirit Fade Out by Radiohead. It's black and white. There's a lot of speed ramping of sections of the screen, up and like faster and slower on different sections of the same frame. It's so gorgeous, and it matches the music so perfectly. And that song specifically, like, made me love Radiohead. Like, I liked Radiohead, you know, it was okay. I didn't get it until I saw that video with that song, and I was like, that's it. I don't care what they make from now on. I just love them. So yeah, that's it.
Dude. Yeah, I watch Madonna Like a Prayer at least 2 or 3 times a year. I just have an urge to, like, I need to go revisit this because it's so, the song is amazing, the visuals are amazing. God, yeah. Great. Well done,
Nice.
sir.
You too, man. Great
Thanks.
stuff.
Fun. I'm debating whether or not to intercut like clips of all those music videos, because on the one hand, it's really fun to show them people what we're talking about, but on the other hand, a lot of copyright stuff to deal with. So
Oh, dude, I can only imagine.
50-50
Jesus.
on which direction I'll go on the edit here. But thanks everyone for tuning in. Stay tuned for our next bonus. If you're on our Patreon, thank you so much. Our next bonus is going to be looking at the pilot for Pluribus on Apple TV. And then we'll also look at our top 5 actors. Yeah, that'll be fun.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah. And then after that, we'll do our top 5 actresses just to, be well-rounded. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Go watch some TV.
Peace.